Never has so much oil gushed out of North America. From the Bakken Shale of North Dakota and here in the northern Alberta tar sands, crude is being extracted. But there's a problem. Getting the oil to market can be dangerous. This fireball over Castleton, North Dakota late last year was from derailed oil tankers. And in Lac-Mégantic, Quebec last July, 47 died when a fuel train exploded in the center of town. It's all prompting calls for tighter safety rules and, for those living beside the rail lines, more transparency about just what's being carried.
That was a small town. If a similar incident were to happen in Toronto, one doesn't even want to imagine the kinds of horrific human casualties that would result.
Canada's government says it's tightening regulations and will continue to do so as it receives input from official inquiries into Lac-Mégantic and other crashes. In late January, both Canada's transport regulators and the National Transportation Safety Board in the U.S. released similar recommendations: stronger oil tankers, moving hazardous goods only along the safest routes, and involving first responders and communities in planning for disasters.
It is an integrated transportation economy. These cars and the locomotives do cross the borders. The railways operate on both sides. And so there has to be a solution that will work in both the U.S. and Canada.
Under intense pressure, not least from an oil industry that must move its product, governments in Washington and Ottawa say they'll move this year to make rail lines even safer. Cross-border pipelines like Keystone XL, which should take some crude shipments off the rails, remain stalled in the approval process. To some, the events of the past year call into question our entire dependence on oil and the need to move to greener, safer sources of energy.
We need much stronger rules on moving oil, and we also need to start making those investments in getting off of oil. We need to sort of do that for climate change reasons, but it's also going to reduce the kinds of risks we've seen that are inevitable when you're moving a hazardous product.
Busy rail lines pass through many North American cities and communities, as indeed do oil and gas pipelines. Getting safety regulations right for both is going to be essential if last year's string of disastrous accidents isn't to be repeated. Daniel Lack, Al Jazeera, Toronto.